How's it going? So in this video, I'm gonna share something that I wrote on one of my recent posts. I'm just gonna quickly read it, and then I'll kind of dive into certain parts of it, break it down, right? Because I think it's really important if you're into improving your life or into sharing things that can help other people or help your friends, help your family, you understand something like this to allow them to become a little bit better in their lives or become a better version of themselves. Because I know self improvement is like this big thing that's going around, but not everybody's sharing real advice that even they're practicing. They're just sharing things that other people are speaking about or becoming a parrot to the content that's already out there. I don't really like doing that. I kind of just rather share what I think. I mean, for the people who do agree with it, they like it and they resonate with it, then that's cool. Then share it, right? Because obviously, if it's resonating with you, you might know who else it can resonate with. Anyways, what I was saying in this was a post across my socials. It was a short. So a person is unhappy when they are not reaching their true potential. We are all capable of becoming more than we are. We can become more, we can do more, help more people, and achieve greatness. We have all been taught our entire lives to get permission to do things and to think things. When we think something that is outside of the bounds of what we are told is right, or what we've been taught to think, we are shut down and we're made to look like fools or be fools. So as a result, our self-esteem is lowered, our beliefs are hindered, and we lose sight on what we actually want and what we truly believe. Now, when you were a kid, you had dreams, and these virgin dreams, right, these untouched dreams, were truly what you loved and cared for, even if they seem unreasonable or even stupid now. This unreasonableness or stupidity that exists, it only exists because you've adapted a foreign way of thought, and your true thoughts are buried beneath these. We become prisoners inside of our own minds and our own homes. The content that we consume is now what forms our thoughts and depicts our social values. We live for the screen instead of using it as the tool that it was designed initially to be. And we've been tricked slowly to believe something with such a positive ability and positive influence, it will now consume our lives and hold our minds captive and our personal lives to the values that we are forced to believe. These values, whether or not you're aware, have become subconscious and a part of you, and it makes me sick. And sadly, this truth it will be continue to be silenced or buried or even cancelled. So obviously, a message like this, whether or not I believe it's true, it doesn't matter. Like you should think for yourself, right? Me telling you this, you should not blindly go into believing what people say, no matter where they are in life or where you see them. Don't look up at them and don't look down at people, especially, right? Just take information for what it is and see why you think it's true, like why you personally think it's true. And also, this type of video, like I was talking about in a previous video, it doesn't do so well with the algorithm, even if it resonates with a lot of people and a lot of people are willing to engage with it and share it. It's the actual content and the topic, right, of the video itself, the self-help videos. For some reason, because I guess it looks down on certain platforms or it stops people from using certain features or it makes people think a certain way. Algorithms don't like it, and a lot of people don't like it, right? Whether or not they believe it's true, it maybe hurts their business or whatnot. So it just goes against the grain. And unfortunately, in society, it's not a pleasant thing to do. Going against the grain, you can get hated, as you've seen. You can get cancelled, and it carries a lot of weight speaking what you think is true, right? Even if there's a small majority of people that agree with you. So when I was speaking about a person is unhappy when they're not reaching their true potential, it's like it goes down to the real version of a human being, right? One that isn't influenced by others' thoughts or isn't told what to do in their life. Like when you go to school, most people go to school because either it's a requirement by their state or their government, or they're told by their parents, or it's just a part of society that you should go to school, right? Which is fine. Like I went to school, right, and I'm still in school right now. While speaking about this, but that's a whole topic for another video about why I'm still in it. Um, but when you do something like this, it you're not actually consciously making the choice, especially when you commence your schooling, because obviously you're very young, so your mind hasn't even developed yet. But you're told what to do, right? It becomes a part of your nature to just do these things that you're told because you can't think otherwise, because you haven't been exposed to another way of thinking to step outside of the bounds that you've been told. You can't. How can you? It's like somebody who's only told thoughts that aren't theirs. You'll start to believe only what isn't your thoughts. Now, something inside of you will start to recognize that what you're doing is not what you actually want and what you actually believe to be right or true. um, it's almost like peer pressure in a form because you're doing things that you don't actually want to, and when enough of this builds up inside of you, it makes you unhappy. That's why you see people who become fulfilled by, you know, doing something that actually has a meaning to it or actually has a purpose. And this purpose comes from doing what they think is right, not doing what somebody has told them to do, right? That's why when somebody tries to tell you what your purpose is, it won't work. You actually have to realize it internally for yourself. And if you don't, nobody can actually do that for you. And this is your true potential. What using your skills, your knowledge that you've gained, or even the ability to learn more to help other people, right? Using your current assets, whether that's knowledge or service you provide, right? And as a byproduct of this, people do make money, right? That's what business is. It's an exchange of value, right? So that's when you see people who are reaching their true potential, they can do so by either making money or not making money. But at the end of the day, they're usually helping somebody or achieving some type of fulfillment by the things that they're doing, rather than doing what they're being told to do every single day. That's why a lot of people quit their jobs, or a lot of people become happy in their jobs, or be unhappy in the choices that they made because they weren't the choices that they chose to do, the choices that somebody chose for them. And if you go through life doing things that always doing things that other people tell you to do, it is inherent as a human being that you will likely become unhappy because you end up becoming a prisoner. Right? And I'll speak about this in the other part of this briefing or this paragraph that I wrote. And I'll speak about this in another part of the caption that I wrote. Now, we are all capable of becoming more than we are. When we become more, we can do more, help more people, and achieve greatness. The thing is, our whole lives we're told not to, think outside of what we've been told, and we're told what we are capable of. So when somebody tells you you can become more, you might not even understand what that means. Like, what is becoming more? You can just get more done? Can you maybe make more money? Or is it that you can actually become a better version of yourself, help more people, and actually achieve a greater level of self and also a greater level of achievement in for example, your business or your life, right? Because when you see somebody who's ultra successful, ultra wealthy, and has everything that you deep down want, right? Or even you're told that you want, it does start to like strike a pain point with you, and it makes you unhappy because you know that somehow that person unlocks something, right? Their true potential, and something stopping you from doing that. And my perspective is the fact that you've been told so much, you've been conditioned so much to believe what you think is possible, that you don't even realize that the only thing stopping you from getting to that point is your own self-created mental barriers, right? But it's not your fault because these mental barriers are imposed on you since the time you even go to school, or since the time you're born. It's always other opinions rather than your own that you're adapting to. So when you become more, you're able to do more. You're able to think outside of the normal realms, and as a result, you can likely help more people and achieve greatness by this. My level of understanding of greatness is the fact that if you can help people, you're already great. If you can help one person, it's a great feat. So the more people you help, the more greatness you can achieve. So we've all been taught our entire lives to get permission to do things and think things. Again, the schooling system, it is flawed in certain ways because every time you want to do something, even if it's just a simple human nature of going to the bathroom, you have to ask permission to do so. And yeah, I understand you don't want to interrupt class or anything like that, or become a nuisance. But like, it doesn't even, it goes beyond going to the washroom. It goes beyond. It's like, oh, am I allowed to create this? Am I allowed to do this for the project? Am I allowed to like? When am I allowed to take a break? When am I allowed to eat? It's like if you're hungry, no, you have to wait another like hour until it's like snack time, or if it's lunch, or and you'll see these patterns start to like evolve into the 9 to 5 workplaces, right? You told when you can take a break, and I'm even studying a lot of this right now, like especially when it comes to the law of employment, the rules surrounding when employers are allowed to or they have to give you the time off to take a rest, because otherwise it would go against the laws that are in place to protect these people from burning out and suing them, obviously. So it's crazy that even as you get older, you're still always asking permission to do certain things, even simple things, not even the permission to just do what you want, just permission to do things that you need to, like eating or using the washroom. It's so crazy to me. Now, when we think something that is outside of these bounds, usually you have to put up a fight, or people start to dislike you, you start to lose friends, or you start to attract some negativity from it, right? Because people who aren't in the realm of thinking for themselves, and they're truly stuck to what the social norms are, they'll say what you're thinking is wrong, or what you're thinking is like illegal, or you're not allowed to do that, or it's hate. Even if you're not hating anybody and you're just speaking truly what you think is right, and your mission is to help people, people will see it this way, and it's very bad, but that's the way it is. Now, when you're taught something like this, and you imagine wanting to believe something, you're already conditioned by the things that you're learning, the things that you're surrounded around, the people, the content, right? TV, Netflix, whatever it is, you see so much of it, and then once you think that you're able to think outside of it, and you're like, oh, I want to think this, somebody goes ahead and says, oh, that's wrong, you shouldn't think that, or you probably shouldn't do that, that's like that's going to get you in trouble, or you shouldn't do that because most people wouldn't see it that way and nobody's going to agree with you, or you shouldn't try that because it's probably not going to work. First of all, pay attention to who's giving you the advice. Number two, that person, have they even tried to think for themselves, first of all? So you're literally listening to the person that is already stuck in this, and they can't see above their own conditioning. So as a result of this, our self-esteem, it becomes lowered, right? And our beliefs are hindered, and then we lose sight on what we actually want because of this and what we truly believe. So it's literally, we're just like hammered down, our entire mental thinking process. We're just hammered, and we can't even think for ourselves anymore because of this. And if you do, you have that same feeling. It's like when you touch the stove and you realize it's hot. It's like when you think these things, then these negative actions are applied to it. You never want to do it again, right? Because of that. So when you're a kid, you have a lot of these crazy thoughts. I want to be an astronaut. I want to be a firefighter. I want to help this many people. I want to, like, you don't really think like, oh, I want to do this just to make money. Some people do, right? Which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But usually, whatever you want is unhindered, and it's unfiltered in a way. And I think that's the rawness of being a kid. Kids will say certain things that maybe they don't seem like they're putting a lot of thought into it, but I think that's okay because it's truly what you want at the time. And it might evolve, but in the way it evolves shouldn't be by conditioning of others. I think it should evolve primarily from you. Outside perspectives are always welcome, and I think they're necessary. But the fact that outside perspective shapes your entirety of your thought, I don't think that's right. Now, because of this conditioning, I think you do become a prisoner inside of your own mind, and we become a prisoner inside of our own homes because now we can't escape other people's thoughts because we're connected to thoughts anywhere we go. And this was another reason why I literally just shut off notifications on my phone, because I want to have the choice of what perspectives I see and what thoughts I have, right? And if I'm always bombarded by the thoughts on my phone, then it's like I never choose what I want to see, and I'm always going to be connected to it. The decisions will be made for me. So content was initially supposed to be, the internet as a whole was initially supposed to be a tool to connect people and to be able to create great businesses and to create a realm of information that people have access to rather than having to go to the library or have to read the newspaper or whatnot to get this information. However, as you've seen, it feels like we've been slowly tricked into using these tools that were initially designed to be amazing and great for the entire world. We've been tricked into using them so much that now we believe that they're good, except for the fact that they're actually hurting us, right? And I wouldn't say that they're inherently bad. I would just say the way we're using it now is bad. That's all it is. I don't think these platforms are bad at all. I think that the way they're being used is actually bad. Now, a lot of people live for the screen instead of using it as a tool it would be, like I've said, and because of that, you're doing things for the wrong reason, I think, or for the reasons that aren't your own, and that's what I think makes it wrong. And now we're consuming other people's lives, and we're holding our minds accountable to what those people believe, and our personal lives become captive they become captive to inside of ourselves. Like now we can never let our true inner selves out, especially if it doesn't appeal to the greater audience or the audiences that we see online. So the values that we adapt to are the values of other people. And a lot of it is from other people. I'm not saying all your values come from social media or content. A lot of it comes from your family. I'm not saying all the values that you adapt are bad either, because a lot of it can be good. However, for the ones that aren't bad, you may not even recognize them as being bad at all, because you've adapted them subconsciously, whether it was conscious, you have them, and you might not be able to recognize what is bad and what is not, because they're yours. And it's very hard as humans to recognize things like this. So because of us being tricked slowly to believe that things are such a bad, so because we've been tricked into believing these things, it's very hard to understand and become conscious of the values that you have, and all of these different things that we're going through, and the level of thinking that we've been accustomed to, and the thoughts that we are and are not allowed to have. And it does make me sick in a way, and it is sad, because as much as I want this video to reach a lot of people, it will become silenced likely, and it will either be buried or cancelled. But like I was saying in another video, I would like to put more of this content out there, even if this is the case, because even if I can get like 10 views, or a lot of my videos are actually getting a decent amount of views and a lot of engagement. So the fact that that is there, I would like that to compound, right? Even if I have to put out 1,000 videos to reach the same number of people that I could with 5 or 6 videos, it's still reaching a large amount of people, and I think that's okay. It does take a little bit more work, right? But that's okay with me, especially if I can help one more person with this. That being said, this was kind of a longish video on the topic, but hope it does help and shed some light on the issue that I think stands. And I'll see you in the next video. So take care. Peace.